What's up, guys? Welcome to Movie Emporium's Flashback Reviews, where we take movies from my past, maybe yours, and break them down. As always, if you like what you see, remember to rate, subscribe, check out the YouTube channel, Facebook, and Twitter. Email nlapolo113@gmail.com. So, it's after Thanksgiving. It's right before Christmas, so next week starts my Christmas month, where I do a bunch of Christmas reviews. But in between, I wanted to take a movie and break it down, and that movie is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. It's not really a Thanksgiving or Christmas movie, but I always like to watch it during these two holidays because it seems like that kind of spirit of movie. And it's a movie that's directed by Mel Stewart. It stars Gene Wilder and Jack Albertson and Peter Ostrom. It's the story of this kid who's dirt poor. His family has to live off cabbage water. All their grandparents live in the same bed, and they have to, day by day, just live in poverty. And one day, Willy Wonka, who's this recluse chocolate maker, candy maker, he decides he's going to send 5 golden tickets out to the world. And 5 lucky children or people who find these golden tickets will be able to take a tour of the factory and possibly win a lifetime supply of chocolate. Well, as things go, and Charlie is down on his luck, he eats a bunch of candy, he gets a bunch of chocolate bars, especially for his birthday. His grandfather is played by Jack Albertson. He gives him candy bars that was smoking or using tobacco. He's just basically unlucky. And 4 of the golden tickets are found. One's found by Violet Beauregard. One's found by Veruca Salt, Mike TV, Augustus Gloop. All these kids, halfway decent, well-off kids, have money, have parents who can support them. And they're very spoiled. They're very gluttonous. They're almost like the 7 deadly sins of kids. Well, one day after everything's settled down, there's a claim that the 5th golden ticket has been found, but in essence, it was a lie, a cheat, and the ticket's still out there. Charlie Bucket, who is played by Peter Ostrom, he finds money in a grate, picks it up, gets a chocolate bar, opens it up, and he gets the 5th golden ticket. Well, the story takes place from there. They go to the chocolate factory, where they meet Gene Wilder, who plays Willy Wonka. And they go on this crazy, dark, demented quest of throughout the chocolate factory. They learn about the different inner workings of it. But what Willy Wonka is doing is he's testing the kids. First, he tests the Goose Gloop in the chocolate factory, like this big, open area that has all these candies. Then he tests Violet Beauregard, and then he tests Veruca Salt, and then of course Mike TV, and then of course Peter Ostrom or Charlie Bucket at the end is tested as well. And this movie is a classic. It's famous for having one of the biggest and best portrayals from Gene Wilder as Willy Wonka. This movie is unique. It's fantastical. It's very dark in its subject material, but it's a classic children's movie that takes place in this world of just overindulgence and over chocolatiering. And I love this movie. Everybody loves this movie. It's a famous, well-known movie. It's, like I said, Roald Dahl, who's the one that wrote it. He must have had a very demented childhood because especially when you get into like what Willy Wonka is doing here, he's trying to find basically his heir to the throne of his chocolate factory because he wants to retire. And in order to do this, he has to weed out the bad kids. But to throw out, 5 golden tickets instead of a bunch of golden tickets is insane because if you think about it, the tickets they're being sold off like monetary value. People are like doing everything they can for it. A woman's husband gets kidnapped. In order to get her husband's back, she has to give her a case of Wonka bars away, and she's like, "Let me think about that," which is really demented. The Queen of England wants to get involved. There's bars of chocolates, moving to the White House, Japan, and it's just a bonkers movie. But what really makes this movie special is the character acting, the look of the movie, just the idea. Everybody who's in this movie, everybody from the kids to the adults, to Jack Albertson's character, to Peter Olstrom's character, even Gene Wilder, they're just having fun with their roles and they're having fun being the characters that they are. One of my favorite characters in this movie is, of course, Veruca Salt, who's just the nastiest, most stuck-up girl you've ever seen in her entire life. And it's because she's spoiled. Her father owns a shelling company, and in order for her to win the chocolate, he shuts down his peanut shelling company to have them shell chocolate wrappers and bars. And it's just sad and pathetic to see, but it's so fascinating, so raw, ridiculous, and so entertaining to watch that when she finally wins the chocolate bar, it almost feels like just not fun to watch because their parents are letting them get away with everything. And this movie also has a lot of humor. There's a scene where they're interviewing Augustus Gloop and his family, and the father eats the microphone, and Mike TV is eating in the living room because her parents don't care enough about him. And it's just this humor in this movie is so dark and demented that I just love it. But you can't really go out without this movie without talking about Gene Wilder as the main character, Willy Wonka, in this movie. Gene Wilder, who didn't do a lot of films in his life, whenever he was on screen and stuff like Blazing Saddles or Young Frankenstein or The Producers, he had a way about him, an aura, whatever you want to call it. And he exuded that wonderment, that excitement every time he was on screen. And you just get how much Gene Wilder had control of everything he did. The idea that he wanted to cause the at the very beginning of his character's introduction, he wanted to make the kids react real. So he came out walking on a cane like he was limping, and then he did the somersault. And apparently everything that you see the kids reacting to is real. They really believe that Gene Wilder was hurt, and it's just fascinating to see what Gene Wilder was willing to do and how he was willing to go, how far he was willing to go, just to make a character the way it was. And we can't be resonant to talk about how there's the one scene as they leave the chocolate area where Augustus Gloop has been basically knocked off, and they go in this tunnel, and there's really demented, violent, over the top LC, lucid dream of all these shots of just like chickens getting their heads cut off and worms going through like noses, and it's so disgusting. But I guess that's what makes this movie have so much charm, is this it was willing to go there for a kids movie. And kids movies in the 70s and 80s were just demented. I mean, look at the witches and look at Willow and just look at all these movies that we watched as kids, and this is no different. And then you get into like how this is taking place in America, but nothing about this city is American. It's a German city, and it really looks like a German city. How they pass this off to be American is just, it boggles your mind. But you know, when you watch this movie, it brings back the inner child in you. If you haven't seen this before, you should definitely watch it. Gene Wilder is probably at his best when he gets to play the character he's playing, when he gets to play that crazy eccentric character of Willy Wonka. And you see it when he gets the gobstoppers, and you see in that little factory he works in, the little creative factory with the he's on a bicycle whipping cream, and he talks about alcohol, and it's just it's really funny. But you know it also can't be understated how fun the musical sequences are. Yeah, they're not the greatest sequences are, but if you listen to them and you listen to how the Oompa Loompas, who are all like really orange and really demented looking, and then you see how they play off the songs that are playing off the characters who have been taken away and disappeared, and just the songs in general. The song where Charlie and Jack Albertson's character, Uncle Joe, they had that song inside the house, and it's such a fantastical, fun movie that has a lot of dark humor, that has a lot of fun humor, and it just shouldn't be understated how much of a classic it really is. Because when Tim Burton redid the movie in 2005, I think it was, when Star Wars Episode 3 came out, it lost a lot of that charm and a lot of that effort because it had Tim Burton and it had Johnny Depp being Johnny Depp. And it just lost a lot of that charm that Gene Wilder brought and Charlie Alstrom brought, and I'm sorry, Peter Alstrom, and then Jack Albertson, and the rest of the cast. And that's what makes this movie a classic, and that's why it should be watched by everyone and all kids. And maybe wait till your kids are like 10 to watch it because of that one scene. But so yeah, that's gonna be pretty much it on Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. It's definitely worth watching. There's a lot of scenes I didn't even talk about that I love in this movie, with the teacher and then the computer from the 70s and all that. But that's it. That's going to be my flashback review on Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I hope you enjoyed. As always, if you like what you see, remember to rate, subscribe, check out the YouTube channel, Facebook, and Twitter. Comment below on what your favorite part of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is. If you've seen it, tell me what you like about it, what you don't like about it, all that good stuff. But Otherwise, you guys have a great rest of your week, and thank you for watching. We'll see you on the next video. Peace.
Hurry up, Violet.
This way, Grandpa.
There is no life I know to compare with pure imagination. Living there, you'll be free if you truly wish to be.